In this video, I'm going to revisit the Beelink 6 media player. We're going to check it out and see what the actual quality is playing 4K files and see if it'll stream 4K. And we're going to tear it down just for good measure. Let's check it out. Okay, the last time we looked at the Beelink 6, I only basically loaded an APK file on to show how to load a file and how to bring up some programming. And it does do that fine. And I have watched several programs in 1080p and it works perfect. But what we want to try here is we want to see whether this thing will stream 4K content. Now I have confirmed that it does not support Netflix. There is no Netflix in the Google Play Store. And that's because this is not a certified device. And Netflix is very picky about devices that can play their content because they are fully supportive of digital rights management and content protection. And therefore this unit obviously doesn't pass the certification, and therefore they don't allow Netflix to play. But we're going to try playing some YouTube, as I've loaded YouTube on here, and I'm going to play some 4K content off of my memory stick here. So let's try playing the 4K content first off my memory stick. So I'm just going to navigate down to my USB stick here and select the file that I've copied over here. So here it is, A Week in the Park. This is one of my own. Let's just see what happens. I'll try this one here, TVD video, and see whether it will play it. But here it is. The banding is the TV itself, not the player. That's just the camera pointing at the screen. So this video is encoded at 60 megabits, and it's 60 frames per second. This was a time lapse that I did, and it's all shot from individual files. So these are, each one of these was a raw file. This was actually shot at 24 megapixels. So the quality off of this here, if I wanted to, I could render this at 8K, and it's, you know, but I've rendered this out at 4K. But the quality of this video is very good, and as you can see, it's handling 60 frame playback flawlessly with no stutter, no breakup. Okay, next we'll take a look at playback from the network. So to access my network, I'm going to do this through VLC, as I don't have my system logged in. So I'll go to my my desktop PC here, and I've only got a few files, or a few folders that I'm actually setting up to share. So I can go to my edited folder here, and these are all my files here that I've got encoded. There's one here, Point Roberts USA in 4K. This was shot, this is encoded at 60 megabits. I have some 100 megabit stuff on here, so I know it probably won't play, but here's my playback, and this is playing back across my network. Now it is being streamed to the media box over Wi-Fi. My desktop computer is connected to the network, obviously by Cat5, but the media player that we're watching this on is connected by Wi-Fi. And as you can see, 4K video is streaming, no problem. I'll skip ahead here and get away from the time-lapse stuff so you can see it in real-time speed. So here we are playing in normal speed. As you can see, no drop frames. This was encoded at the same bit rate that the camera is actually encoding it at, which I believe was 60 megabits. I didn't recompress it or anything. Although this camera, this is a Nikon or Key Mission 170, and I find that the encoding on this is definitely not as good as my Sony. But it's okay. It's got a nice sharp picture, but it's not as good as the Sony. I just stopped it there, by the way. We're going to look for another file here. I'm going to take a look at a 100 megabit encoded video. This is the highest quality that I can encode it. This was shot at 100 megabits and edited down to 100 megabits, and I imagine that this is going to fail miserably because this is pushing, yeah, you see, it's not going to play back 100 megabit encoded video, but I assure you the video quality off of this file is like looking out a window. It is absolutely stunning. This was shot down the Oregon coast, and I shot this at 100 megabits, so this is the highest quality that my little 4K, well, this isn't my little 4K camera I shot this on, this is my big 4K. I have two 4K cameras. The one that I'm shooting the screen with is my little Handycam, and the one that I do my scenery videos on is a much bigger and higher quality, bigger sensor. But as you can see, at 100 megabits, this is not going to play very well at all. But this file here is even pushing my smart TV with a hard drive plugged directly into it. It's pushing it to the limit. It'll play it no problem, but the media player here is not going to play it streaming across the network. Now this could be the media player bogging down because it is fed with Wi-Fi, or it could be just that my network is congested as well and it's not able to stream from my server fast enough. Again, it's pushing it to the limit. It's 100 megabit signal is required for this. My computer is connected by gigabit Ethernet to the switch, but it's going through my home network at that point, so it might be the network is not streaming fast enough, or it may be just this media player cannot handle 100 megabit, but it can certainly play 60 megabit, no problem, that was put on a memory stick itself. Next we'll load up YouTube. I want to see if it's going to be able to stream any 4K content in YouTube. So now that I'm on YouTube, let's search out and find some of my own 4K content. I'm just going to search out my Oregon Coast video that we just saw, and we'll play this one back. Now this is the same video. This is encoded on YouTube, and let's see how this comes back from YouTube, whether it's going to play it in 4K or whether it's going to down res it. Okay, let's just see if I can bring this up full stream. It's not playing in 4K, that's for sure. It's looking pretty soft there, but let's just see whether this will bring it up full screen here if I can. Well, it's now, as you can see, this is pretty fuzzy coming off of YouTube. Will it kick in? That's the question. We'll be able to tell, okay, now it's kicked into HD. I can tell by looking down here at the sharpness of my copyright logo. Right? This is now playing in HD. It's not playing in 4K yet. If this kicks into 4K, it will get very sharp. Oh, here it goes. It's kicking up. You know, it's not as sharp. It's definitely, I don't think this is in 4K. This is just playing it in HD. Looks to be just playing it in HD. Because if you remember how sharp my little DMC photography logo was in the bottom of the screen, and if we look at the detail in the sand and stuff, it doesn't look to be that it's playing 4K. It appears to be just the stream is a 4K stream though, but YouTube, it looks like it's streaming it to me in HD. Let me go to the smart TV and we'll take a look and see what difference it is on the TV directly. Okay, I've searched it out. As it says right on here, it says it's in 4K. If I click on here to play the video in 4K, we should see this thing kick up. Of course, I have to watch my commercial first to see, because I gotta make my penny from my video, so we'll skip the commercial. Okay, if you look down at the font here, you'll see immediately that it is sharper. All you gotta do is look down at my copyright at the bottom here, and it is much sharper and the gravel. So this is my smart TV playing the 4K YouTube stream. Again, it's over Wi-Fi. So I think that answers the question that YouTube is going to play on the Beelink 6. It's going to play it in HD, not 4K, and Netflix is not available on this device because it's not a certified device. But it will play 4K content, no problem, if you've got it on a hard drive or on a USB stick or even streaming across your network. It will play it back as long as the bit rate is not too high. Now, I don't know what YouTube uses for their bit rate. This was uploaded. This rendering was not the 100 meg rendering. The rendering I put up to YouTube, I think I streamed at 50 because I know that YouTube is going to actually recompress it anyway. So I sent it up to YouTube at 50 megabits, even though I shot the original at 100. So here's the 100 megabit file, played directly off a hard drive on my smart TV. And that's about as good as you're going to see it. This is actually my version that I sell on the open market. I don't have my logo burned on this because this is my master copy that was rendered out at 100 megabits. But the image quality off this is phenomenal. So once again, we're back to the version off of the YouTube, off the streaming box. And again, it doesn't look too bad, but it certainly, I don't think, is in 4K. We're going to grab the same shot again right from YouTube on my smart TV just so we can compare it. So that's the version from the media player playing a 4K stream from YouTube. And here's the same shot streaming from YouTube through my smart TV. Another problem with this unit is it does not support exFAT file allocation. It only supports FAT32, so no big hard drives, no files over 4 gigs. I even tried going to the Play Store and downloading a exFAT driver, but nope, it doesn't work. Okay, we're looking at the Beelink 6 unit here. I'm going to take this thing apart, and we'll see what's inside this one. They just pop apart quite easy. Bottom comes off just like that. It has a big heat sink on the bottom here, which is pressed up against the main processor. And as you can see, everything here is just on one board. And if I remove a couple screws here, we'll actually lift the board out. Here's the reverse side of the board. As you can see, there's not a heck of a lot here. There's no components. There's a couple resistors in here. Capacitor. Here's our USB connector soldered down here. This is going to be our antenna for the Wi-Fi. And our USB 3 port here. HDMI and LAN connector. And this is the SPDIF output power connector, USB 2. It'll be the reset switch right here. And I think this is probably the wireless LAN is right in here. Main processor. Here's this is the infrared detector. And that's probably the light. That's the little LED that shines through the top here. Right there, shines up on the front. Or actually shines through the bottom, because this is the top side here. This is actually the bottom of the unit here. So, the reset, you press a pin through here to press the reset button. There's not much to this thing. This is the main processor. I guess I can drop this back into the base now. We'll get a closer look at the some of the chips on here. I'll get the microscope out. Maybe we'll take a close look at it. One thing I can do is I can bring the camera in incredibly close as long as I'm on a wide angle, and I'm just giving it some supplement light here so that we can study this a little bit better. So here's the main processor. Doesn't look to be too badly constructed, you know. I'm just looking at it right now on the little 2-inch screen on the camera, as my overhead monitor doesn't work when I'm in 4K mode. That only works when I'm in 1080. So as soon as I switch down to 4K, that shuts off. Here's some memory over here. Anyway, I think this thing looks pretty good. You know, the construction on here doesn't look too bad, especially considering the price. You know, this is not a real expensive unit. Anyway, I'm going to put this thing back together. We'll put the heatsink back on it here. And then the top cover just snaps in place. And that's it. That's the unit back together. Okay, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now at least we know what it can do or what it can't do. No, it doesn't do Netflix, but it seems to do everything else, and it doesn't do 4K on YouTube, but it seems to do everything else. Okay. No, it doesn't. It doesn't support EXFAT either, and I tried a couple different so-called extensions for EXFAT, and you know, I tried 2 or 3 of them, and none of them worked. So keep that in mind. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one real soon.